bear with me. I have some pretty crucial thoughts I need to share with you before we get into this very simple but very exciting list video. Contrary to many videos in this space, this video is not meant to tell you what fragrance you should buy next. I'm being a little bit more devious than that, but only to benefit you. This video is intended to remind you that in this hobby, the fragrance hobby, quality will always be much more fulfilling than quantity. Quality being having a collection of fragrances that you truly love and get almost equal wear out of, depending on the time of year and the occasion, versus quantity, which is getting more fragrances for the sake of getting more fragrances. Cheapies and clones are simply low-hanging fruit. Now, just like this fruit can still taste good, these types of fragrances can still smell good. And if you love them, that's what truly matters. However, using their low prices as rationalization to buy or blind buy them ad nauseum is a quick and easy way to waste money on fragrances that you may not even love, and thus build a collection of fragrances that does not even represent your tastes. You don't just want to build a fragrance collection, you want to build your fragrance collection. If you disagree with this, let me know why down in the comments. So what does all of this mean? Am I saying that you need to spend higher amounts of money on more expensive niche fragrances because they are more artistic, usually perform better, and typically of higher quality? No. I believe that buying niche solely because you want strong performing, high quality, and unique fragrances is, ironically enough, possibly just as unhealthy as buying cheap fragrances solely because they are cheap. I'm sure some of you were not expecting to hear that, but hear me out. If you remember back in the first few seconds of the video, future Justin, go ahead and rewind it back. This video is not meant to tell you what fragrance you should buy next. I meant what I said when I said that. And in addition to that, I'm also not telling you what to not buy next. If you want my honest guidance on purchasing any fragrance for the remainder of your time here on Earth, it's very simple. You ready? Okay, only buy a full bottle of a fragrance that you have tried and love, meaning
sample first.
You can do so at DCANX, use the code STAYFRESH15, save a little bit of money. That helps me out if you want to help me out at no extra cost to you, just being real, but it's the easiest way I can help you guys practice what I'm preaching. Sample first. Don't just blind buy what your favorite reviewer says they love or promises that other people will love on you. I'm not exempt from this. Don't just blind buy the hottest new designer fragrance because it's shiny and exciting. And don't just blind buy the most interesting sounding artistic fragrance because you feel compelled to add more niche to your collection. In other words, I don't care what fragrances you love. And I mean categorically, truly, completely love, no matter what anyone else may say or not say about your fragrance. It could be YSL EDP. It could be Guerlain Bois Mystérieux. I don't care. If you want to buy fragrances that are worth buying and wearing, make sure you love how they feel without any external affirmation, because you have to live with them all day once you put them on your skin. Now, some of you won't get what I'm about to say. I've had many folks in my comments in recent videos pushing back against this idea, expressing that it's totally fine and should even be encouraged to buy and wear mass appealing fragrances that you may not even care about because they can be great conversation starters. Let me speak on this for a moment. What I have to say about that is this. Brace yourself. If you feel that you need a fragrance to start a conversation, you have deeper things to address. As they say, you've got bigger fish to fry. I want my content to enable you guys to grow, or at least to want to grow, your self-image. That has nothing to do with fragrance. Fragrance is what you put on top of that. Doing this will enhance your self-confidence so that you could wear any fragrance or no fragrance and still start a conversation. See this video here where I talk more about self-image and self-confidence in the realm of fragrance wearing. Now, if you don't care about any of this self-growing stuff, then frankly, my content may not be for you, but it's my hope that you'll keep yourself open to internal growth in your own life for your own sake. Don't do it for me, do it for you in the limited time you have here on Earth. Now let's get into these 10 fragrances. I got 5 designer, 5 niche that I personally love and I believe don't get that much discussion here on YouTube. And if they sound interesting to you, there's links down below to try them. So let's dive right into it. By the way, if you made it to this point in the video without skipping, you are a real one and I appreciate you. Our first fragrance up is from Mind Games. This is relatively new to my collection. It was sent to me by So Avant-Garde. I'm going to link them down below, maybe with a little coupon code that you can use to save some money. This one, I don't even really know how to say the name of it. You have to forgive me. It's Gardez? Gard? French speakers, I know you guys like to pretend like consonants aren't there, so tell me how to say this one. Again, still getting to know it, so I don't have a ton to say about it, but this is one of the most interesting leather fragrances that I've tried. Why? Well, this is gonna sound weird. Smells like a movie theater. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the smell of buttered popcorn, but inside of a movie theater with leather seats. And you can almost smell this natural, I don't know if you're going to get this natural sweetness of the drapes, of the long drapes, maybe at the front of the theater. Sometimes old antique materials just have this almost natural velvety-like sweetness. I don't know how else to describe it beyond that. I apologize if that is not connecting with you, but I can tell you that you may get a little bit of a buttered popcorn smell out of this, but it really is a very intriguing leather. It uses a lot of orris, which is slightly powdery, but definitely more buttery. It's so intriguing. It's actually kind of alluring. Definitely going to be giving it some wear in this coming season. So once again, you're going to have links down below. Designer, we're going to just alternate niche designer. Next up from Lalique, we have Encre. Why am I trying so hard? Encre Noire. Forgive me, French speakers, once again. This is the sport version. I've been really enjoying wearing this for very casual occasions. I've actually worn it to the gym a couple times. It's a fantastic gym fragrance that doesn't smell basic bro shower gel. Nothing wrong with basic bro shower gel, but there's at least going to be 28 other dudes at the gym who are going to smell like basic bro shower gel. So if you want to smell a little different, why am I doing this with my hands? Check out this fragrance. This is a woody vetiver scent, but the sport flanker here is much more watery. There's a fresh, almost zesty, citrusy, watery element to the scent. It does make it smell clean, but it does have this dark, even slightly inky depth, as per the name, black ink. Super easy to wear, but very interesting. Wears fairly light, so its weirdness is not going to become overwhelming unless you're going to spray it 20 times, in which case,
How dare you?
Encre Noire Sport from Lalique. From Kilian, definitely not going to be a favorite of everyone. This is a very specific fragrance. You have to love some licorice. If you are a licorice lover, either eating or smelling or both, this is going to be something you're going to enjoy. If not, you've been warned, you might not. This is called Verte from Kilian. Once again, this is an absinthe licorice based fragrance. It's sweet, it's spirity in a way. There's almost this sweet herbal spirit quality like the booziness of the absinthe, and it's got that interesting almost mentholic dark sweetness from licorice, maybe a backbone of woods or something like that. But I think it's kind of intoxicating for some reason. I find it very elegant. I don't like to spray too much because it's so specific, so particular that it will choke you out. It smells weird and it smells way too much when you put on too much. So no more than maybe 4 or 5 sprays of this. You smell interesting, but there is an alluring quality to it. But I'm warning you, if you get a sample of this, you put it on your skin and you smell it up close, don't come back to my channel and tell me you didn't like it. You've been warned. Let it come to you. Let it waft. Check it out. Kilian Verte. This guy I gotta spray. I never pass up a time to sniff this one, even if I'm not wearing it. Sometimes I'll just spray it and smell it on a blotter. Unbelievable, but not gonna be for everyone. From Cartier, I'm gonna switch so you can actually see it against this cool background. We have Déclaration Parfum. Man, this is a beautiful, spicy, warm, leathery, resinous fragrance. Some of you are going to get cooking spices out of this, and you might not like that. Lots of cumin in here. I happen to enjoy cumin in fragrances. It does have a bit of a warm, ambery sweetness with a backbone of a very soft, supple leather and woods. Very masculine, very much evening vibes, pretty confident smelling. You want to make sure you feel good about wearing this fragrance, otherwise you're going to be very self-conscious walking around wherever you are smelling like this. So wear it with confidence. How do you do that? Watch this video up here that I recorded recently about how to really pull off any fragrance. I think it'll be very helpful for those of you who ask questions like, I like that fragrance, but I just don't know where to wear it. Watch that video. Trust me. Anyway, let me know if you did Cartier Déclaration Parfum. And once again, there's links down below. I want to spray this fragrance too. This is making its long form video debut. I only included it in a short where I first unboxed it, did my first impressions of it. I have worn it a couple times since then, and it has really proven itself to be a very special and beautiful fragrance, a great addition to the Zaharoff signature pour homme lineup. I'm talking about the brand new Black Rose HalfetI. And you'll see in the B-roll how ridiculous this bottle is. It's going to be a little bit polarizing. Some of you guys may not really be into this style of bottle. I'm not going to say this is how I want every bottle to look, but if you guys know what goes into creating a bottle like this with Zaharoff, the quality involved in this very heavy metal plate, the beautiful finish on this cap, you get it in hand, you feel the quality. The box is also utterly stunning. I can't just help but appreciate it, and therefore I like it a lot. It's beautiful and the scent matches perfectly. Now, those of you who haven't tried this yet, but you have tried Signature Rosé, you might think what I thought, which is, oh, it's gonna be a flanker to Signature Rosé. No, this is not a flanker to Signature Rosé. This is more of a direct flanker to the original Signature Pour Homme. The DNA is refreshingly right up front and center. You get that slightly barbershop vibe that you get out of the original Signature Pour Homme, but it's creamy, it's rich, but still fresh and clean. And you put it inside of this very leafy green smelling rose. It does have a very dry freshness to it. It's not jammy, it's not overly sweet. I will say that as it dries down on my skin, it gets a little bit sweeter, maybe a little bit warmer, but overall it's a very natural smelling rose with this very gentlemanly and masculine barbershop fougere vibe. If that sounds good to you, get a sample. Check out Zaharoff Black Rose HalfetI. All right, we are halfway through this list, and our next one up is honestly one that's a little bit hard to find at a decent price. If you can get decants, then I recommend getting a decant. I'll link to what I can find down below, but I don't recommend blind buying a full bottle of this. Wow. What a special fragrance, one that I could not appreciate. When I first smelled it, it was my first ever negative review I filmed on my channel easily 7+ years ago. From Tom Ford, we have Noire. This is the original Noir EDP. Such a gothic scent, such a moody fragrance. It kind of smells the way it looks. It looks like it doesn't have a lot to say. Looks like a very quiet, unhappy person, but you know they have really interesting thoughts going on in their head and you want to know what they have to say. It is foggy smelling. It's kind of gloomy smelling. There is this fresh fog that kind of covers this sweet, earthy, ambery rose, but it's shrouded. So it's almost fresh, but there's this warmth that's kind of mysterious in the background of it. It just kind of floats and hovers. It's not a strong presence. It doesn't scream at you. And because this scent profile is pretty strange, I would not ever want this to be too strong, nor would I ever spray too much of it. So it's kind of a more introspective fragrance, or one that's maybe a little bit more enigmatic. If you want to have that air of mystery that's elegant, something to wear in the evening time, fall and winter, this is one you should check out. Tom Ford Noir EDP. Again, I'll link it down below and let me know if you've tried it. Up next is a brand you almost never hear anyone talk about. This is a Greek brand known as Manos Gerakinis. This is one of the most delicious fragrances I've smelled, period. And it's one of the best that I believe they've put out. This is called Immortelle. It is kind of succulent. It's kind of mouth-watering. It does smell a little bit gourmand, but it's not all the way there. It's not an overtly dessert-smelling fragrance. There is a lot of brown sugar, which is delicious. It's very authentically smelling brown sugar. It's quite sweet, but it's kind of dripping in this maple syrup vibe from the Immortelle itself. But Immortelle can also have this dry tobacco or hay-like feel. So yes, it is sweet and very alluring in that way in terms of smelling delicious, but there's something in the background to it that just smells a little bit darker, a little bit more sophisticated, if you will, but something I would definitely say for a night out, maybe a date night, maybe not first date, third, fourth, or maybe a long-standing partner. This is something that I think they would appreciate. Once again, from Manos Gerakinis, this is called Immortelle. Up next, from the house of Brioni, another designer house that is criminally under-discussed. I don't know why, but I'm here to save the day, guys. I got my cape and everything. no one really cares. But nonetheless, this is Brioni Eau de Parfum. This is their Pour Homme line, their newest collection that they've been adding flankers to and adding some really cool and interesting flankers to. This is the original of this new collection that I think started 2021. I think this is a rebottling, maybe even a reformulation of an original fragrance they made, which was also, I think, Brioni Homme or Brioni Pour Homme, came in a different bottle. I haven't smelled that, so I can't say if it's the same exact fragrance. But this is a violet forward fragrance. And violet is a bit of a fresher, sweeter floral. When you blend it with ozonic notes like aldehydes or anything super fresh, it almost brings this metallic-like fresh feel to it. But it's coupled with some beautiful apple. This is definitely more daytime sophisticated vibes, but in a unique way. Not your average type of freshness. Dries down to some musk and woods. A little bit of bitterness in the background to kind of balance out the sweetness of this apple and violet. Fresh, masculine, understated, classy. Brioni Eau de Parfum. From a niche brand with some interesting fragrances, perfumed by Christian Provenzano, who is becoming a very much household name these days in perfumery. He's a busy guy. He's working for everyone. This is an interesting fragrance that I almost wrote off when I first smelled it, because first sniff I was like,
this is vintage-y.
But that was on paper, and even on paper I can say like, yeah, reminds me of that. But on skin, it deviates pretty quickly and pretty far away from Soul of Mine. They call this Treasure. This is one of their fragrances for men. This is a beautiful masculine fragrance. Yes, it is a little vintage-y. I get an almost pineapple-like fruity sweetness that is very fresh, very bright, but I get immediately this mossy, woody base that is dark, almost a little bit brash on the skin, but in a way that is just deep. It pulls you in and it smells utterly masculine. Perhaps not something quite as versatile as something like a Ventus. I would consider it an alternative to a Ventus, even though it's not identical, especially on skin and as it dries. But it's something you could wear in place of a Ventus, but it's more like for the evening time, so to speak. It just has a confident, authoritative nature to it that smells like it just works with the night. That is Soul of Mine, Treasure. And our final designer fragrance is a discontinued gem that, again, is still out there. Bottles are not going for amazing prices. So again, I'll link down to a sample down below if you want to, but I can't control what you do with your money. So I'll link to bottles too. I'm not totally against that, but just know I don't advise it if you want to avoid headache and frustration. This is from Prada, another fragrance that I couldn't stand when I first smelled it because I wasn't ready for it, but now I really appreciate it. And it's actually a little bit similar to the Tom Ford in some ways. This is Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. Once again, I'm gonna hold it over here because it makes more sense. You can actually see it. This is like dark soap, dark, ambery, but clean soap. There's a lot of myrrh resin in here, which is a sweeter resinous quality, almost makes it damp smelling. I think patchouli lends itself to that, bringing an earthy darkness to the scent. But there's some fresher notes like citrus and even geranium that does kind of keep it a little bit clean smelling, but it's overall, once again, very mysterious. A clean fragrance to wear in the nighttime, not something for the heat. I would reserve this for the cooler times of the year or once again the evening. Definitely going to be more night out vibes, dress up a little bit more, maybe a collared shirt, but I would probably stick to darker colors like this bottle. I think it just kind of makes more sense. So an interesting fragrance that is not getting a ton of talk these days, and I know why, because not a lot of people can get their hands on it. But if you can, and once again, I'll link to what I can find down below, I do recommend it. And if you have tried it, let me and everyone else know down in the comments what you think of Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. All right, I know this was a bit of a longer video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I had a lot to say in the beginning, so if you stuck with me through all of that, I really appreciate you. I want to know what you think down in the comments. Yes, I love making videos to recommend new fragrances for you guys to watch, but I also want to start discussions. I want to get more critical conversations around fragrances going here on YouTube, because it can't just be about holding bottles up to the camera with links down below for you to go buy stuff and spend more money. There's got to be more to it than that if you're asking me. So let me know what you think down in the comments, and thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.